Well, good morning. It is Saturday, July 4th. Happy Independence Day in the United States. We are gathering this morning for our time of devotions, and welcome as we share this time together on a national holiday. I am Heather E. Clausen, pastor of Bethel Lutheran Church and the United Methodist Church, both in Herman, Minnesota. This morning we are going to be in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 22, beginning at verse 15. These verses, these stories that have been given to us, come close on the heels of Jesus' triumphant travel into Jerusalem. Just before this and some of the teachings that came, we know that story of him riding in on that donkey. The stories, and the one we're going to share today, are those final teachings before the crucifixion. The teachings that Jesus was pretty firm on. And he was tested all along the way by many of the experts who tried to trip him up. They were trying to see, could it truly be, or was this another false prophet? There had been so many. And so they test. And so this morning in verse 22, this is one of the tests that was given. Then the Pharisees went and plotted to entrap him in what he said. So they sent their disciples to him along with the Herodians, saying, "Teacher, we know that you are sincere and teach the way of God in accordance with the truth, and show deference to no one. For you do not regard people with partiality. Tell us then what you think. Is it lawful to pay taxes to the emperor or not?" But Jesus, aware of their malice, said, "Why are you putting me to the test, you hypocrites? Show me the coin used for the tax." And they brought him a denarius. And then he said to them, "Whose head is this, and whose title?" They answered, "The emperor's." Then he said to them, "Give therefore to the emperor the things that are the emperor's, and to God the things that are God's." When they heard this, they were amazed. They left him and they went away. It is an interesting road we tread, or sometimes tightrope we walk upon. When we live in a country, and today we celebrate that independence all those years ago, we live in a country that has always had opportunity. And where our challenge has always been, is it opportunity for all? It is a challenge that sometimes causes us to mix up our allegiance. Jesus is very clear where our allegiance lies. Number one should always be God. So our theology today is that for Christians, our nations are never first. God is number one. And that's where our faith needs to lie, number one. You know, saying that isn't always popular. Because I know for Jim Wallace, One time when he spoke at a conference in Washington, D.C., he told the crowd, "We are Christians first and Americans second. We agree with that, right?" Well, he said, he looked around and the crowd looked a little uncomfortable. What Jesus was teaching was that, first of all our allegiances are to God. If Jesus is Lord, in many ways it is a political statement. It is saying that, first off, always needs to be God, and the God that we encounter through Jesus Christ. For God, all nations are equal. Each is different. Each has their own different practices, different beliefs, different structures. But for God, each is equal. You know, we have a history that we try to deny in our country. Our country did not begin well. Hopes and dreams, but also our original sin of racism began with the attempt to eliminate the people that lived here first, the indigenous people. When God is our first allegiance, it doesn't mean we don't love our country. I mean, everything that's wrong with America can be fixed by everything that's right with America. But it does say the number one filter in how we respond, in how we act, needs to be God, even in our allegiance to country. You know, we have an old hymn that was written in, actually, the words were written in 1939, called "This Is My Song." And it begins with, "This is my song, O God of all the nations, a song of peace for lands afar and mine. This is my home, the country where my heart is. Here are my hopes, my dreams, my holy shrine. But other hearts and other lands are beating with hopes and dreams as true and high as mine." It is a song that reminds us, just as Jesus is teaching, you know, if it really is a country, then give it to country. But be sure God is first. He wasn't going to allow them to trip him into saying we shouldn't pay taxes. He wasn't going to allow them to trip him into offending the Roman authority, and yet at the same time, very clearly, his teaching came through. You know, Langston Hughes wrote a poem many, many years ago. He was responding to, and the line throughout the poem is, "America was never America to me because of racism." But I love these two opening passages. I love the whole poem because it does speak a truth. But he says, "Let America be America again. Let it be the dream it used to be. Let it be the pioneer on the plain seeking a home where he himself is free. Let America be the dream the dreamers dreamed. Let it be that great, strong land of love, where never kings connive nor tyrants scheme, that any man be crushed by one above." And he says, "Oh, let my land be a land where liberty is crowned with no false patriotic wreath, but opportunity is real and life is free, equality in the air we breathe." You know, when we look at the words of the founding fathers, let this truth be self-evident, that all are created equal. We know they had a dream, and even they did not understand fully what God means by equality. But they had a dream of a land that could be different. I think we live in a land that can be very different. As individuals, as groups, as the church, wherever it is today, we have a dream that says, first of all, is God's dream. And living into God's dream and doing all we can to make that dream a reality would bring to all citizens of this country and of the world what Langston Hughes spoke of. He was speaking sarcastically and sadly and grieving, because that was not the America he experienced. But Langston Hughes understood that dream, that it is the America that we need to have. God always needs to be first. And it's easy to get that confused. It is not country first. It is God first. And when God is first, country, one by one, can become exactly what that dream was. Go in peace. Be safe today. Safe in this heat. Safe when it comes to fireworks, and we know the law. And safe when it comes to COVID-19. We know it is here locally. We need to remember to care for one another with masks, with social distancing, with doing our best to keep people safe and healthy. May this be a healthy, safe, and joyous day for you as you celebrate Independence Day. Amen.